With the end of the year in sight and tons of sellers scrambling to get their homes sold before the weather shifts, I'm seeing clear signs that the Olympia housing market has opportunity written all over it, especially for buyers. I'll break it down for you in my September 2025 update. Hi friends, I'm Realtor Scott Tompkins, your 360 agent right here in beautiful Olympia, Washington, and here are my key takeaways about the real estate market in Thurston County for September 2025. Our number of new listings coming to market this month was up about 16% from last year, and at 816 active listings, which is up nearly 50% from last September, buyers have way more choices than they typically would, especially for this time of year. Pending sales were identical to last year's number, and closed sales were up about 12%. Here's a quick snapshot of the typical home that sold in September here in Thurston County. On average, it was built in 1992, had just over 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, and featured a little over 2,050 finished square feet. 67% had air conditioning, and around 59% were in an HOA. Our months of inventory was 2.6 months of supply, up about a third from last year. This means that it would take roughly 2.5 months to sell all the available homes. As always, some areas are hotter than others. At 1.24 months of supply, South Olympia is the hottest area in Thurston County, solidly in a seller's market territory, a more competitive environment. On the other end of the spectrum, Thurston Northwest has 5.29 months of supply, which puts it in a balanced market, which could mean opportunity for buyers. Sellers in September accepted an offer in 43 days, so things are slowing down compared with last month's 35 days and last year's 32 days. This month, about 51% of buyers used conventional financing, 8% used FHA financing, 14% paid cash, and 23% used VA loans. Homes this month again sold for slightly less than the listing price, 99.2% of list price, no change from last month and down slightly from a year ago. Despite what I've seen in a couple local sources, home prices did not decrease in September. At $531,000, our median sales price is up $16,000, or about 3.1% from last year. Remember that median is the middle price where half the homes sold for less and half sold for more. Our average sales price for September was just under $580,000, an increase of about $19,000 or 3.4% from last year. About 62% of sellers offered some type of seller concessions, such as assistance with buyers' closing costs. The number of sellers who needed to reduce the price of their home increased significantly to 45.5% this month. Wow! This is the highest number of reductions I've seen since I started tracking this number last year. By the way, if you do have to reduce your price, it happens, so don't beat yourself up. I ran the numbers, and for sellers who needed to reduce their price this month, the median reduction was 4.35% of the listing price. If we apply that to this month's median sales price, that would give us a typical price reduction of over $23,000. We never like to make price reductions, but hopefully the math gives you some perspective. Now let's take a look at how hot the market is by looking at several of my favorite stats. First, multiple offers. In September, 22% of closed homes had multiple offers, about where it was in August. Next, we look at buyers waiving inspections. In September, 34% of buyers waived them. Again, level with the 35% we saw in August. Lastly, 5% of buyers use an escalation addendum, a tool that automatically increases their offers to beat other buyers' offers. Not many buyers have been using this option over the last few months, but I like these, and they can definitely give you an edge in a multiple offer situation. So is this a good time to buy a home here in the South Puget Sound? Here's my take. This time of year, the number of homes for sale normally is trailing off, but this year, inventory is super high, so buyers, you've got more choices. Some sellers may have to make the difficult choice to take their homes off the market later this year and relist in the new year, something they probably don't want to do. So almost half of sellers are doing price reductions. And remember, it's taking about 6 weeks for homes to go under contract. Buyers, I feel good saying that you can stand to be a little aggressive with your offer. Notice I didn't say be greedy, but many sellers are going to be willing to move on price or help you with your closing costs, so don't be afraid to ask. And generally, between a price reduction and help with your closing costs are a better option for you because it keeps real cash in your pocket. Some homes are getting buyers excited. Remember that 22% had multiple offers and a third of buyers waived inspections. This tells me that for the right home, buyers are willing to dig deep. So sellers, go the extra mile to make sure your home is one of the gems buyers will fight for. Do the professional deep clean. Declutter and pack up everything that doesn't add to your home's vibe, and be realistic with how you price your home. Remember, in this market, you've got more competition than usual. If this is your first time watching one of my market updates, please consider subscribing to be notified when I release future videos. And I might have a special Halloween video planned. And check out my home buyer series that walks you through the home buying process from start to finish, because buying a home doesn't need to be scary or spooky. Thanks for watching, and happy house hunting.